Are you a nurse or a nurse practitioner who really wants to be into entrepreneurship but have no idea where to start? Well, this video is for you. I'm going to cover the 3 steps you need to take right now to begin your entrepreneurial journey. You do not want to miss this. Hey, it's your girl, Dr. Kiiyonna Jones, and I am so excited to have you here because today we are discussing a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. Although I am the med spa queen and I do help nurses and nurse practitioners start their aesthetic businesses, I am also a nurse who is dedicated to the mission of empowering healthcare professionals to leverage their licenses and make a lot of money and then charge tax. So on today's episode, we are covering the 3 ways that you can transition from bedside or employee, because a lot of nurses and nurse practitioners may not work at the bedside, from bedside or employee nurse to entrepreneur. And I'm going to cover some of the characteristics you need to possess in order for that to happen. So before we jump into the content, I did want to make sure that I shout out the sponsor of this video, which is the Nurse Boss Mob. The Nurse Boss Mob is a community of over 100 nurses where we collectively come together, work on our businesses, deal with challenges such as marketing, such as social media, such as just what books we should read and how do we build our businesses and what systems we should have and all the things that we as entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs struggle with. The Nurse Boss Mob provides you with that outlet. And so I want to shout out the Nurse Boss Mob for this video. The link to the Nurse Boss Mob is below as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into it. The first thing I want you guys to know, and I do have a little notepad, so I'll be looking down so you guys know I'm not crazy because I got to stay on topic because your girl is long-winded. But anyway, I want to give you guys the 3 steps that you can take right now to begin your entrepreneurial journey. I know it seems overwhelming because it feels like, oh my gosh, there's just like everybody's throwing stuff at me, like market research and like, oh my God, I need to get my social media up and oh my goodness, I need to do this, I need to have time, I need to this. I want to tell you the 3 things that you can do right after you finish this video that can help you begin your journey to entrepreneurship. Here's a hint. It's not leave your job. Being a boss, or AKA an entrepreneur or a business owner, begins right now, and it is something that can be added to your day-to-day life where you don't even have to really change a lot, but you do have to begin to adapt certain characteristics so that you can continue to grow and become an entrepreneur. So here's what I want you to know. The best time to begin your journey for entrepreneurship begins right now. But here are some characteristics I want to highlight for you that will ensure your chance of success as an entrepreneur. The first thing I want you to know is that you have to be disciplined. You cannot decide that I want to embark on something that is totally out of my wheelhouse, that I really don't know a lot about, and I'm just gonna continue to live my life as it is. If you had the tools to become an entrepreneur right now, you would already be an entrepreneur right now. But because you're not an entrepreneur right now, you know that there are some things that you need to change about yourself that can get you to that next level. And those changes are going to require discipline because we are used to doing things the way we want to do them, right? But an entrepreneur has to move differently in order to have a successful business. Discipline can be something like, okay, I'm going to dedicate at least an hour a day to learn a new skill. And you don't waver from that. Discipline can also be, I am not going to do anything that does not add to the bottom line or contribute to me on my entrepreneur journey. Okay, and I'll give you guys some examples of that in a little bit. Another thing, quality or characteristic you need to have as an entrepreneur is you need to be creative. You need to be able to see a problem and come up with a solution for that problem. And that solution is what people will pay you for. Okay, and again, this is not just for aesthetics, this is just for anything. What problem do people have where you're like, you know what? such and such would be a great idea, or this would help a lot of people, or I see that people struggle with this and it's very easy for me to do it. Maybe I'm going to help people do that. You have to be creative and figure out what's the problem and then provide a solution for them. And you can start brainstorming that right now. Get you a journal and start writing out ideas. Essentially, what you are doing is turning on your entrepreneurial mindset. You're surveying the area around you. When I say area, I don't mean literal area. I just mean like the climate, the environment that you're in. And you're like, this will be a good idea. This will be a good idea. And jotting those notes down and brain dumping all the ideas that come to your mind related to that. The next thing is being proactive. What are you guys doing in your place of employment right now? A lot of the entrepreneurial aspects of me were founded in me when I didn't even know what business I was going to start. I legit was still an employee. At the time, I was nursing supervisor, and I remember just being so dedicated to solving problems and like, what do we need and how can we make this better? I was dedicated to the mission. And what I didn't realize at the time that I realize now is essentially what I was doing was cultivating the entrepreneur in me. So now as a business owner, it's second nature for me to like, oh, I see that problem. Okay, what do we need to do? How can we streamline it? What does the research say? Like I literally still do that in my business right now. That is going to be key for you as an entrepreneur. And if you're not doing that in your business, that is a problem. If you're not doing that in your place of business, that is a problem. A lot of people don't realize you being an entrepreneur, having your own business is an added aspect of it. And what I mean by that is you are a boss from within first. And these qualities that I'm talking to you about should be seated in you before you ever enter into entrepreneurship, right? And if you have family, then you've already had exposure. But to most of us, like me, I didn't have anyone to show me entrepreneurship. So I had to learn it and learn how to be a business owner. And the qualities that I already possessed from being in the different roles that I was in as an employee, I leveraged those in my business, and I strongly suggest you do the same. And the last characteristic I'm gonna focus on, again, there's a lot, but I just want to focus on a few. The last one I'm going to focus on is mental fortitude. You have to be able to build or fortify, you know how they talk about cereals, fortify? Fortify your mind. Build your mind up. It is a muscle. So if now you're going from employee mindset to entrepreneur or business owner mindset, those are very different. The way we look at things is different. The way we look at money is different. The way we look at the world is different. There's a switch that needs to happen. And I will tell you, a lot of that can begin if you just open up a book. It really does not take hundreds of thousands of dollars to build your mental fortitude. But again, it takes discipline. Again, it takes creativity. Again, it takes proactivity. And then it also takes perseverance. Because if you are able to persevere in the presence of an obstacle, that is getting you ready for entrepreneurship. Because believe me, there will be obstacles. So as a successful entrepreneur, I can tell you that those obstacles that I face and still continue to face every single day, I approach them with a different mindset. It's always a lesson for me. And I always have the tools, even though I may not see the tools immediately right then and there. I know they exist, and I'm prepared to tackle them and successfully overcome them. Even if the outcome does not go the way that I think it should or that I wanted it to, I know it is a part of my journey and I receive it. Mindset is so, so key. All right, so let's get into the three, and I'm gonna cover them really, really quickly. The first thing you need to do is decide what you want out of life and who you want to become. Notice I did not say you need to set the goal for $1 million and that's $83,000 a month and this. No, you guys, the beauty and what I love most about being an entrepreneur is the fact that I evolve and become better and greater and more enriched. That is the best gift. The money is a byproduct. Your mental, physical, and emotional wellness is the goal. The money is a byproduct. Keyword, it's secondary. And when you fortify yourself and you become that person who has provided that solution, who is adding that value, the money is going to chase you. So I suggest you write out, get in that same journal, and I suggest you write it out that who is it that I want to become during this? What is it that I want out of life? And when I say what do you want, I mean you can put your flashy cars and you can put your big house or whatever it is. But what I'm really referring to when I say what do you want, I mean things that are technically priceless. Like, is it spending more time with your family? Is it being able to take trips? Is it being able to spend more time with your mom? Is it being able to take care of your mom who's getting older? Like, is it being able to sit at home with your kids and attend their events or go to their school events? What your husband or wife or whatever, what is it that you want? Because this is a big problem that a lot of entrepreneurs, and I was one of them. I'm glad I started with a mindset coach when I first began my entrepreneur journey because she helped me, but I still did not dive deep on like what it is that I wanted and who is it that I wanted to become. The second thing is begin eliminating anything that does not contribute to number one. So what do you do in your life? Like, it's time to take inventory, right? Time is the most precious commodity. Although people say it's money, it's not. It's time. So what things are you doing in your life that does not contribute to who you want to become or what you want out of life? I'll give you an example. On my journey, I realized I was spending a lot of time doing things that did not move the needle for me. For example, I'm in LA, so I spent a lot of time in my car, right? And at the time, I was spending about 14 to 16 hours driving, okay? So I had multiple jobs too. So I was listening to the radio. It's like, why am I listening to 16 hours on some weeks? Some weeks is like 10, but why was I spending my time listening to music instead of a podcast or an Audible book or a YouTube channel for motivation? Like, I literally made that one change. And if you think about it now, we're almost 6 years later, that has compounded interest in my mindset. So this person you see before you is a direct result of mentorship and of lifestyle changes where I eliminated things that did not move the needle for me. Another example is Netflix. Now, I do still watch Netflix, don't get me wrong. I watch movies, but I don't spend hours and hours binging. I may watch one movie a week during downtime with my family because we are having a movie night, right? But to just spend hours and hours and hours on TV, I don't do that anymore. Why? Because that's not contributing to number one. So taking inventory of that is going to be a major eye opener for you when you realize you waste a lot of time. A lot of people say, well, I don't have time. Oh, yes, you do. Even if you're in your car, you guys, we have access to listen to podcasts. We have access to listen to Audible. Our parents and grandparents didn't have that. And a lot of people in the other generations were able to be successful. We have everything at our fingertips. We just have to leverage it. Number 3, making investments in yourself. And I know people are going to be like, oh my God, here she go with the money. No. Because see, here's the truth about it. Making an investment in yourself can be via time or money. And you just have to figure out what you have more of. Do you have more time or you have more money? The first thing you may say is, oh, no, I got more time. But I want you to rethink that position because your time is finite. You have literally 24 hours in a day. We all have 24 hours in a day. And then when we think about over the long haul, your time on this planet is definitely finite. And we all don't have the same time in that regard. And it is irreplaceable. You can never get it back. Versus with money, you can continue to get more money, right? But you can't get more time, no matter how you slice it or dice it. But for those who are saying, well, I don't have the money to make an investment in myself, then I would suggest you use your time. And what I mean by that is reading. What I mean by that is attending conferences. What I mean by that is purchasing webinars that are like $50. Like, you spend that on Starbucks in less than a week, in a couple days. How about using that to invest in yourself? Because see, here's the thing. Here's what I know. When you make that first investment and you actually do the work, and of course it's a good course and not some of these scammers out here, right? But you make that investment, here's what I know. I guarantee you that once you make that investment, you're going to want more. You're going to hunger for more. You're going to start seeing, and especially if you implement whatever they're teaching you, you'll start seeing those changes in your life and you're like, oh my goodness, I want more. That's exactly what happened to me. But you have to be willing to make the investments, and they don't have to be large investments. All right. And I want to make sure I explain to you what that looks like. Go on YouTube. What is it that you want to know about? There is training after training and video after video on any given topic. Go on YouTube. Learn something. That is what I mean when I say investing in yourself. And in this case, you're investing time, right? The next thing that you can do is, when you're reading, buy some books. Those are pretty reasonably cost. You're not going to have to spend thousands of dollars on a book. But instead of spending money on things that's not going to mentally fortify you, why don't you invest in a book? And commit to reading one book a month even. It doesn't even have to be anything ridiculous, guys, because there is compound interest in decisions that we make. So where you are right now is not a direct result only of what you did yesterday. It's a direct result of what you did 5 years ago. It's a direct result of what you did 10 years ago. Hell, it's a direct result of what your parents did to you 30 years ago. So I want you to realize that this is something that's going to happen over time. It is compounded, but you have the power to make the change now. All right, so when you buy the few courses, actually take the courses and actually complete the work from the courses. Because I don't know if you're anything like me, but I've definitely made investments where I didn't even open the email after I paid for it. It's something, but anyway. But you have to be really, really ready and prepared to transform your life and to understand that these people who you see who are doing the thing that you want to do, or who you have watched grow over time, you are very much so capable of the exact same thing. All you have to do is make a decision. So those are the 3 steps. I hope I have added some value to someone and that someone can click the subscribe button, because that was my goal. But if in fact you found value in this, make sure you let your friends know about this new channel, this young, okay, well, maybe not so young, but anyway, this nurse who is empowering and emboldening nurses to show up as the best versions of ourselves. Again, this video was sponsored by the Nurse Boss Mob. If you are interested, we are not open yet, but the wait list is open, and this is for current and aspiring nurse entrepreneurs who are looking to change the game, to monetarily change their lives and transform their life's trajectory. Again, thank you guys so much for listening to this video, and I will see you on the next one.